Would you like to throw some light on politics according to 3 different levels of consciousness?
The world of politics is basically of the instinctive level. It belongs to the law of jungle. Might is right. And the people who get interested into politics are the most mediocre, politics needs no other qualifications except one. That is a deep feeling of inferiority complex. Because politics can be reduced almost into a mathematical maxim. Politics means will to power. Friedrich Nietzsche has even written a book, Will to Power. It is very significant because will to power expresses in many ways. So you have to understand by politics not only the politics that is known by the name. Wherever somebody is trying a power number, it is politics. It does not matter whether it relates to the state, government, and matters like that. To me, the word politics is much more comprehensive than it is understood. Man has been trying all over the history a political strategy over women that sees lower to him. And he has convinced the woman herself and there were reasons that the woman was helpless and had to concede to this ugly idea, which is absolutely absurd. Neither the woman is inferior to man, nor she is superior. There are 2 different categories of humanity. They cannot be compared. The very comparison is idiotic. And if you start comparing, then you will be in trouble. Why woman has been proclaimed all over the world by men inferior? Because this was the only way to keep her into bondage, to make out of her a slave. It was easier. If she is equal, then there is trouble. She should be conditioned to the idea that she is inferior. And the reasons given are muscular strength. She has less. Her height is less. She has not produced any philosophy, any theology. She has not founded any religion. There has not been significant women artists, musicians, painters. That shows that she has not enough intelligence. She is not an intellectual. She is not concerned with higher problems of life. Her concern is very limited. She is only a housewife. Now, choosing this way, easily you can convince the woman that she is inferior. But this is a very cunning way. There are other things also to be compared. A woman can give birth to a child, a man cannot give. He is certainly inferior. He cannot become a mother. Nature has not given him that much responsibility, knowing that he is inferior. The responsibility goes to the superior. The nature has not given him a womb. In fact, his function in giving birth to a child is nothing more than of a injection. Very momentary use. The mother has to carry the child for 9 months. Take all the trouble of carrying the child. It is not an easy job. And then to give birth to the child. that is almost as if one is passing through death. Then to bring up the child, for years together, she is involved, and in the past she was continuously giving birth to children. What time you have left her to become a great musician, a poetess, a painter? Have you given her any time? She was constantly either pregnant or taking care of the children. She has given birth. She was taking care of the house. So that you were able to contemplate of higher things. Just for one day, for 24 hours, change your work. Let her contemplate, create poetry or music, and for 24 hours you take care of the children, of the kitchen, of the house, and then you will know who is superior. Just 24 hours will be enough to prove to you that to take care of so many children is just to be in a madhouse. They are not so innocent as they look. They are as naughty as you can conceive. And they are doing all kinds of mischiefs. They will not leave you for a single moment. They want attention continuously. Perhaps that is a natural need. Attention is food. And just one day, cooking the food for the family and the guests, and you will know that in 24 hours you have experienced hell, and you will forget that idea, because in 24 hours you will not think even for a single split second about theology, philosophy, religion. Think in other way. The woman has not muscular power because for millions of years she has not been given the work that creates muscles. I have been to Aboriginals in India where the woman is muscular and the man is not. So it is not something natural. It is something historical. But For so long they have not been given muscular work that their bodies by and by naturally have lost the capacity for muscular development. But in these aboriginal tribes, the man is almost a housewife, and the wife is really the husband, because she goes to work, she chops wood, she hunts for food, and the man simply sits, drinks alcohol, bums around, takes care of the children and the house. And for centuries he has been doing that. Naturally he has shrunk. He has lost his muscles. Strangely enough, with the muscular power gone, his height has also dropped. The woman is taller. When I first entered in such an aboriginal tribe, I could not believe my eyes. I had never thought that this is something historical. It has nothing to do with nature. And why man in those aboriginal tribes has chosen this way? That too is cunning. Because those tribes allow you can have as many wives you want. So this is a beautiful thing. The man marries 5, 6 wives, and then he just relaxes, drinks, and the women have to work. The women have been working all kinds of things that man is supposed to do. Naturally, they have become stronger. And you will be surprised to know that in those tribes, it is the woman who plays on the musical instruments, who dances, who tries to make beautiful artifacts, sculpture. Anything beautiful that is done by the woman. She spins and weaves the clothes with beautiful designs. The man has done nothing. For millions of years he has been uncreative in those tribes. He has just lived the life of a drunkard. And because he is too much drunk, he cannot take even care of the children or prepare food. So when the wives return, they have to prepare the food too, take care of the children, collect them where they are, because the husband is flat on the ground. And he can afford to be flat on the ground because he has married. The only great thing he has done, he has married 6, 7 wives. Now what more you expect of him? He has done his job. The society of these aboriginal tribes is matriarchal. Because the chiefs of the society are women. They have a committee to decide about problems concerning their life. It is not the man who has the decisive power. You have to think from other angles too. The woman has more resistance power than men. Now that is a medically established fact. Women fall sick less than men. They live longer than men, 5 years longer. It is a very stupid society where we have decided that the husband should be 4, 5 years older than the wife. Just to prove that the husband is more experienced, elderly, to keep his superiority intact. But it is not medically right. Because the woman is going to live 5 years longer. If you think medically, then the husband should be 5 years elder than the wife, so they can die at the same time. Almost at the same time. On the one hand, the husband has to be 4 or 5 years elder, and on the other hand, the woman is not allowed to marry again. In almost all cultures and societies, it is a new development that sees being allowed, and that too only in very developed countries. You don't allow her to marry, so she is going to live at least 10 years of widowhood. This is medically unsound. Just the arithmetic is not right. Why enforce 10 years of widowhood on a poor woman? The best way would have been that the wife should be 5 years older and the man should be 5 years younger. That would have settled the whole matter. They will be dying almost simultaneously at the same time. There would be no need for widowers and widows and the problems that arise out of it. Now, if you think that a woman lives 5 years longer than man, then who is superior? If she falls less sick, has more resistance to sicknesses, then who is superior? A woman commits 50% less suicide than men. The same ratio is about madness. 50% less women become mad than men. Now these facts have never been considered. Why? Why a man has to commit suicide double than the woman? Seems to be he has no patience with life. He is too impatient. And is too much desirous, expectant, and when things don't go his way, then he wants to finish himself. He gets frustrated very soon. That shows a weakness. He has not the courage to face the problems of life. Suicide is a cowardly step. It is escaping from problems. It is not solving them. The woman has more problems. Her problems and the problems that her man creates for her. She has double problems, and still she manages to face them courageously. And you go on calling her that she is weaker. Why a man goes mad in double numbers than women? That simply shows that his intellect is not made of strong materials. Pops up any time. But why it has been insisted continuously that the woman is inferior? It is politics. It is a power game. If you cannot become the president of the country, it is not easy because there is so much competition. You cannot become a Messiah because it is not so easy. The moment you think of becoming a Messiah, crucifixion comes into the eye. Just the other day, I saw an advertisement for new recruits from some Christian mission with Jesus hanging on cross, and the advertisement says you need guts to be a priest. Great advertisement. But that means except Jesus, what about all other Christian priests? They are not priests. That advertisement is proof enough. So there has been only one priest, and all these popes and cardinals and bishops, what are these? These are not priests. Because when Jesus proclaimed his ideas, cross was the answer. And when these popes go around the world, red carpets, warm, overwhelming welcomes from presidents of the countries, prime ministers of the countries, kings and queens, this is strange. You should not misbehave with popes in this way. Yes, it is misbehavior. You are proclaiming that he is not a priest. Crucify him. That will be the only certificate that he was a genuine Christian. Crucify as many priests as you can. It is not my idea, it is their idea. They publish the advertisement that you need guts with a picture of Jesus on cross. It is so simple. To be a politician, one need not be concerned only with government, state, and concerning affairs. Any power trip makes you a politician. The husband trying to be superior than the wife, then it is politics. The wife trying to be superior than the husband, because the wife cannot simply accept the idea, even though for millions of years it has been conditioned. She finds ways to sabotage it. That's the whole reason why the wife goes on nagging, throws tantrums, starts crying on any small matters, makes fuss for anything you could not have even imagined that this is going to make fuss. Why all this happens? This is the feminine way to sabotage your political strategy. You think you are superior, go on thinking you are superior, and I will show you who is superior. And every husband knows that who is superior. He still goes on trying to be superior. At least outside the house, he straightens up, makes his tie right, smiles and goes on as if everything is good. In a small school, the teacher was asking the students, can you tell me the name of the animal who goes out of the house like a lion and comes back like a mouse? A small child raised up his hand. She said, yes, what is your answer? He said, my father. Children are very observant. They go on looking what is happening. The father goes out almost like a lion, and when he comes home, he is just a mouse. Every husband is handpicked. There is no other category of husbands. But why? Why this ugly situation has arisen? There is a male form of politics, there is a female form of politics. But both are trying to be on top of each other. In every other area, for example, in a university, the lecturer wants to be the reader wants to be the professor wants to be the dean wants to be the vice chancellor. Constant struggle for power. At least one should think it should not be so in education. But nobody is interested in education. Everybody is interested in power. In religion, the same. The bishop wants to be the cardinal wants to be the pope. Everybody is on a ladder, trying to climb higher, and others are pulling his legs downwards. Those who are upwards, they are trying to push him that he cannot rise up to their level. And the same is being done to them, those who are on a under rung of the ladder. They are pulling their legs. Others are kicking and hitting them to keep them down as possible. The whole ladder, if you see, just as an observer, it is a circus. And this is happening all around, everywhere. So to me, politics means an effort to prove yourself superior. But why? Because you feel deep down inferior. And the man of instinct is bound to feel inferior. He is inferior. It is not inferiority complex. It is a fact, a reality. He is inferior. To live the life of instinct is to live at the lowest possible level of life. If you understand the struggle, the fight for being superior, and you drop out of the fight, you simply say, I am myself, neither superior nor inferior. You just stand by the side and watch the whole show. You have entered into the second world, the world of intelligence and consciousness. It is only a question of understanding the whole rotten situation in which everybody is caught. You have just to give a little patient observation of the whole situation. What is happening? And even if I reach to the highest rung of the ladder, what is the point? You are just hung up in the sky, looking like a fool. There is nowhere else to go. Of course, down you cannot come because people will start joking about you. Where are you going? What happened? Are you defeated? So you cannot come down. You cannot go anywhere else because there is no ladder higher. So you are hung up in the sky, pretending, smiling. Jimmy Carter smiled. That you have arrived, that you have found the goal of life, and you know that you have not found anything. You have been simply a fool and your whole life is wasted. Now there is no way to go up, and if you go down, then everybody is going to laugh. So anybody who becomes a president of a country or a prime minister of a country, his only prayer is that I should die on my post, because lower you cannot go. That is very insulting, humiliating. Higher there is no way. You are stuck. Only death can release you from the dilemma. One of the chief ministers of Madhya Pradesh was very intimate to me. I was very young, but he loved me. And he liked to discuss things with me. I told him many times that you should discuss with people who are capable of understanding politics. I don't know politics. He said, that's why I discuss with you, because I cannot say these things to anybody else. I can only say to you, because you will not say to anybody. In fact, you won't be able to figure it out what is the problem. But just talking to you, I feel relieved. I said, okay, if you feel relieved, I am ready to listen. And this was the basic problem coming up again and again, that the only thing I hope is to die as chief minister. I don't want to die in retirement. I asked him, but what is the joy in dying, remaining on the post? You can relax, you can retire, you are old enough. He said, never suggest that. Because if I am without power, then it is going to be a humiliation. The moment you lose power, everybody forgets you. I want to die with all the honors of the chief minister, with the army, with the government, with the police, all the honors that is appropriate. And he was the first chief minister of Madhya Pradesh, and he remained clinging to the very last. He died remaining the chief minister. And he was very happy. Just one day before he died, I went to see him and asked, how you are feeling? He said, I am feeling very good, because it seems the time has come and I am still on the post. It seems sad. This man, his whole life, struggled to become, he was just a schoolmaster. It was a long way from being a high school teacher to pass all the politicians and all great cunning, clever, in every possible way to prevent him, but he was determined. And finally, he managed, but he lost his whole life just to receive a great celebration with military parades and 21 guns and 7 days holiday all over the state and all the flags down for 7 days in his honor. But what is the point? The man was dead. Whether you throw him in a municipal truck or you do all this, it makes no sense. Just for this army honor, he lived and died. If you watch, you will be simply surprised that it must be something crazy in man's mind that gives him a continuous energy to go on rising higher and higher. I know it for certain that the man who reached first on the Everest was not the man that is known to the whole world. The real man who reached first, the world will never know, because he was just a servant, Tenzing, a Nepalese poor man. He reached first because it was a very unsafe place. Hundreds of people have died within 100 years just trying to reach on the Everest. Of course, the man who was arranging and investing money into it, he will not take the risk first, because the Everest is just a peak. Only one man can stand there, that too not for long, because the wind is so strong and the height is such that you step one step this way or that way and you are gone miles down. You will never be found again. What happened to you? But the poor servant first tried, and when he found that it is safe, he came back. Then the great explorer and the first man to reach on the Everest, Hillary, he stood there ready to give a posture, picture, and he put the flag of Britain, India, Nepal, because all three countries were concerned. So 3 flags he left there, and just he was there not more than 10 minutes. More to be there was dangerous. But the poor man who has really reached first, history will never know. And of course, Hillary gave him enough money to keep his mouth shut. He opened a great institute and made Tenzing the principal of the institute for training people to climb mountains, mountaineering, the art of mountaineering. But such things cannot be hidden, because it was not only Tenzing, there were at least 50 other servants also, carrying every kinds of instruments, tents, food, clothes. They all had seen who had reached first. They all have been bribed, but when 50 persons see such a thing, it is very unexpected that the rumor will not spread. I have met one of the persons who was part of the team, and he said that is a truth, but we are poor people and we are just servants. He said it is just like 2 armies fight, soldiers kill each other. One party wins, one is defeated, but the name of the victor is always the commander, who never really fights, who remains far behind the soldiers, enough distance in any dangerous situation. He will be the first to move away from the dangerous spot. But when victory comes, then he gets medals and everything. But this is how the world goes. He said, we are poor people and we have no complaint because he has given us enough money. Man is continuously trying in every possible way to be somebody higher, special, superior. But this is all politics. And according to me, only the mediocre people are interested. The intelligent people have something more important to do. Intelligence cannot waste itself in struggling with third class, ugly politics, dirty politics. Only the third class people become presidents, prime ministers. An intelligent person is not going to be distracted into such a desert which leads nowhere, not even to an oasis. So on the instinctive level, politics is just might is right, the law of the jungle. Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Mussolini, Bonaparte, Alexander, Tamerlane, all these people are more wild wolves than human beings. If we want a real humanity in the world, we should cross these people's names completely. We should forget that these people have existed. They were just nightmares. But it's strange, the whole history is full of all these people. I went only one day in my college in the history class. When I had gone to fill the form, the principal asked what subjects you want to study. 4 subjects you can choose. I said, I will fill the form, I will sign, deposit the fee, but I would like a little taste of all the professors who are teaching, because to me, more important is the teacher than what he is teaching. And moreover, I have to be acquainted a little bit of what kind of subject these people are teaching. He said, this is a very unprecedented thing. This is something that you have to fill first. Only then you can enter in the college. I said, you will have to make an exception. Otherwise, I am ready to appear before the committee who runs the college. Then let me convince them. How can I choose subjects which I don't know? And I don't want much, just a little sample here, there. All subjects I want just 2 weeks' time, and I will move around the whole college, and all the subjects I will have a little taste of the subject, of the students, of the teacher, and then I will fill. He said, okay, better you keep quiet, don't say to anybody, because I think you will convince the committee. I said, obviously, because even if a person goes into the market to purchase an ordinary earthen pot, he goes to few shops, knocks and feels. And in India that time it was only 1 paisa, 2 paisa, beautiful earthen pots. But still he checks whether it is with a hole or not, because if it has a hole, it makes different sound. If it has any crack, it has different sound. If it is really perfect, then it gives a musical sound. And even for 2 paisa earthen pot, people move around the whole market, and I am going to decide 4 years of my life. And you want me to fill without knowing what I am doing? He said, okay, I will keep it in my file for 2 weeks. You go around, but don't create any trouble, because if I am caught with this farm, that I will be in trouble. I said, you don't be worried. The first class I attended was the history, because just accidentally, that was the first classroom as I entered into the building. So I said, okay, this is good. Start with history. And he was giving a general introduction. And all the people he was talking are these idiots, Nadir Shah, Timur Lane, Genghis Khan, Babur, Humayun, Aurangzeb, the whole invaders of India. I asked him, are you teaching us, or you are simply reminding us that we are born to be slaves? You are teaching us history, or you are simply reminding us that we have been slaves for thousands of years and we are going to be slaves? Because a country so big has been conquered by small armies, barbarous, uncivilized. I said to him that if you have any sense of dignity, you please stop all this nonsense. Can't you find something that gives dignity to man, that makes him feel that the past has not been just idiotic and stupid, that there is something in the past which makes him feel that he inherits something of beauty, grandeur, and makes him hopeful of future. He said, have you come here to change the whole syllabus of history? I said, totally. Because only then I can study here. Otherwise, I have come just to check whether it is worthwhile wasting. Because all these nightmares, what I have to do with Nadir Shah? And why should I want to know about him. There is something far more beautiful. Can't you talk about Buddha, Bodhidharma, Nagarjuna, Shankara, Parsunatha, Mahavira, Vasubandhu? Can't you talk about these people? He said, my God, I have never heard these names. Vasubandhu. I am a doctorate degree holder in history. Vasubandhu? I have never heard the name. I said, then you come down and sit here. I will teach something about Vasubandhu. And this is not the only name that you don't know. I will tell you a few names that you don't know either. Dharmakirti, you know? Chandrakirti, you know? He said, no. He said, are you inventing these names? I said, I am not inventing. These are the real people. But they are not even in your footnotes. Because they never killed anybody, they never invaded any country, they never made any empire. They never massacred people, they never slaughtered people, they never raped women, they never burnt people alive. What is history? Just cuttings of newspapers of ancient times. You go and help somebody, no newspaper is going to publish the story. You go and kill somebody, and all the newspapers are full. And what is your history except these people who have been nuisance, have left wounds on human consciousness? This you call history? I said, if this is history, then it is not for me, because I have a different dimension of history. What you are teaching is really history of politics. You should change the name of your subject. This is not history. It is political history. And what I am saying to you is history of human intelligence and ultimately the history of human enlightenment. He was simply in a shock. He simply told to the class that now I am not in a position to say anything. First I have to see the principal about this boy. I said, there is no need to see the principal. I have seen him. He knows what I am doing, and I am not going to come again, so you need not be worried. You go on teaching about all these idiots. You have only this garbage in your mind. It is very strange that the real flowers of intelligence are not even mentioned. It was so difficult for me to find out about these people. I have been looking into so many libraries, trying to find out something more about these people who are really the creators. They have put the foundations, but we know only one kind of world, the world where might is right. No, on the second is label, right is might. Intelligence believes into finding what is right. There is no need to wrestle with swords or bombs and kill each other, because might does not prove anything right. Do you think that Muhammad Ali boxing with Gautam Buddha? Of course, he will be the winner. In the first round, there will not be any second round. In the first hit, it will be enough. Poor Buddha will be flat on the ground. And seeing the situation, he will start himself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. He will not wait for the referee to count. And he will not move from the ground. Flat lying on the ground, he will count up to 10. And he will say, it is finished, you are a winner. But might does not prove right. It is perfectly okay in the world of animals and in the world of instinct. Intelligence reverses the whole role. Right. And right has to be decided by intelligence, by logic, by reason, by argument. That's what Socrates was doing in the court, that he was ready to answer any question that the juries and the judges want. What are my crimes? You just start telling one by one, and I am ready to answer. They knew that it was impossible to argue with this man. Vague, crimes, they thought perhaps Socrates cannot answer about this. And even if he asks, the juries are not going to be convinced, because it will go against their whole conditioning. First thing they said, that the greatest crime that you have been committing is you are corrupting the mind of the youth. He said, that's true. but it is not a crime. And what you call corruption, I call creation. You have corrupted those people's minds. Now I have to destroy that corruption. And if you are right, then why don't your school opens an academies just as I have my school, my academy? Whoever is right, people will be coming there. Since Socrates has opened his school, all the schools of Athens were closed. Because when a man like Socrates is teaching, who can compete? In fact, all the teachers who have been running schools became students of Socrates. He was a real master. He said, you present before me a single young man who is being corrupted by me. And what do you mean by corruption? They said that you teach there are no gods. Are gods? He said, yes. Because there are no God, no gods. What can I do about it? It is not my responsibility. If God does not exist, you are corrupting the mind of youth, or I am corrupting the mind of youth. I am simply telling the truth. Do you think truth can corrupt the minds of youth? And the debate continues for days. Finally, the judges decided that as far as intelligence is concerned, he has shut the mouth of you all. Single man alone against the whole mediocre society of Athens. So we should not argue anymore, we will simply ask for voting. Socrates said that voting cannot prove what is right and what is wrong. In fact, the more possibility is that the people will vote for that which is wrong. Because the majority consists of mediocre people. Socrates is trying to establish that right should be decided by intelligence. That's what finally created the whole evolution of science. Socrates should be known as the father of all science. Because in science it is not a question that you are powerful, that's why you are right. The question is, anybody can prove howsoever powerful you are, it does not matter. The question has to be decided by logic, by reason, in the lab with experiment and experience. So on the second level of consciousness, it is a totally different matter. India has been for 2000 years in a slavery for many reasons, but one of the reasons and the most fundamental reasons is that India's all intelligent people turned their back on politics of the lower third class instinctive level. All intelligent people simply were not interested in politics or power. Their whole interest was to decide what is true, what is the meaning of life, why we are here. And at the time of Gautam Buddha, perhaps around the whole world, the second level of consciousness came to its highest peak. In China, Confucius, Lao Tzu, Mencius, Chuang Tzu, Li Tzu, these were the people contemporary. In India, Gautam Buddha, Mahavir, Makhli Gosal, Ajit Keskambal, Sanjay Belattiput, they were overpowering giants. In Greece, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Plotinus, Heraclitus, Pythagoras, they touched the very peak of intelligence. All over the world, suddenly, as if a tidy wave of intelligence came. Only idiots remained fighting. All the intelligent people were deep in finding ways how to decide what is right, what is wrong. In India, it was a tradition for every philosopher to travel all over India, challenging. Challenge was not inimical. You have to understand that. On the second level, there is no enmity. They both are seekers. It is a friendly phenomenon. It is not a fight. They both want the truth to win. None of them is trying to win over the other. That is not the question at all. When Sankara began his discussion with Mandan Mishra, he touched his feet and asked his blessing that truth wins. Now, to touch the feet of your enemy, what it shows, there is no question of conquering the person. He is old and respected all over the country. Shankara is just a young man, 30 years old. Mandan Mishra is of his grandfather's age. He touches the feet because it is not a question of defeating him. And asks the blessing, not that I should be the winner, asks the blessing that the truth should win. And truth is nobody's property. And that was happening all over the country. And such great intellectuals were born. That even today we cannot find that quality, that sharpness, for the simple reason because all the intellectuals have moved towards science. Philosophy is deserted. At that time, all those people were in the world of philosophy. But you have to remember, it is a fight, but no more a personal quarrel. No desire to prove oneself superior, but an inquiry to find the truth. The whole emphasis has changed. Victory of the true. The famous dictum in Indian history of philosophy is Satyamev Jayate. Truth should win, no matter who gets defeated. It is not arising out of an inferiority complex, but it is coming out of a really superior intelligence. And the tradition went through China to Japan, and it is spread to other fields also. That's why if you see two Japanese boxers are Aikido fighters, are Jiu-Jitsu, are Judo fighters, you will be surprised. First, they bow down to each other with tremendous respect. There is no question of enmity. This is one of the teachings of Judo and all martial arts in Japan, that when you are fighting with somebody, it is not a question of personal enmity. If it is personal, you are already ready to be defeated, because it is based in ego. You are falling into the lower level. The art of Judo, whosoever proves the art of Judo superior is the winner, not the person. It is the art that wins. Just as in philosophy it is the truth that wins, it is now the art that wins. Not even for a single moment you should remember yourself and your victory. because that will be the moment of your defeat. And it has happened many times, which nobody else can understand except who has understood the whole tradition of Eastern way. Sometimes there are two equally non-egoistic fighters. Then nobody wins. The fight continues for days, goes on being postponed, but nobody wins. Every day they come, they bow down to each other with great joy, with great respect. In fact, they are honored by the person, because he is not an ordinary person. Just to fight with him is honor enough. And the fight continues. Finally, the judges have to say that nobody can win, because both are equally egoless. So nobody can find the way to defeat the other. Ego is the loophole. Ego is a kind of a sleep in which you can be defeated. Just for a moment, a thought can come in, and that's the end of you. The art of judo, jiu-jitsu, aikido, they are all similar, with little differences, subtleties. But the basic foundation is one. And the basic foundation is that when you are fighting, you should not be there, utterly absent. Then no sword can cut you. And if you see two swordsmen fighting, you will be simply amazed. One of my friends, he became my friend after he came from Japan. He was caught in Second World War. He was in British Army, a colonel. He was a Sikh, a Sardar. Chanchal Singh was his name. He was caught by the Japanese as a war prisoner. And then one of Indian revolutionaries, Subhash Chandra, went through Adolf Hitler to Germany, to Japan, and with Adolf Hitler's recommendation, Japan allowed all the war prisoners to be trained by Subhas to fight against the British Army. Japanese thought this is a good idea. Otherwise, they are unnecessarily a burden, prisoners. And Subhas is fighting for the freedom of the country. So he was easily able to convince the Indian prisoners. For them too it was good. In the first place, who would not like to fight for one's own country? Secondly, it is better than to be a prisoner. There is a chance to escape too. Subhas trained them in all martial arts. After the war, when the prisoners were released, Chanchal Singh came back I was simply sitting in a hotel with a friend, discussing about the freedom of the country, and I was telling to the friend that just throwing the British kingdom does not mean automatically freedom. Freedom is a positive concept. You can throw away the Britishers, but if your mind remains the mind of a slave, then anybody who rules, he may be Indian, but you will not be free. Yes, rulers will change. White skin gone, black skin comes in its place. But do you think by the change of the color of skin, slavery can become freedom? Freedom needs some positive change and transformation of mind. If you have a mind of a slave, you will be a slave. Whoever is on the throne makes no difference. And I am still holding that argument, because 40 years have passed. India is still a slave more than ever. At least when it was under British Raj, there was a possibility to throw responsibility on the Britishers, that they are responsible. Now they don't have even that excuse. Just the other day, the information came to me. Something which can happen only in a country whose mind has become so accustomed of slavery that whatever you do, it cannot accept itself as free. The information was that one truckload of all the secret files of Indian government was being caught crossing the country border, going into another country. All the secret files. And the driver was Indian, and the conductor was Indian, and the truck belonged to a very big industrialist. And this industrialist, when the truck was caught, then almost a dozen people have been caught, and it has been found that perhaps this was the last truck. It is wondered whether India has left with any secret. And this has never happened in history. All the secrets were being sold by Indians. No other detectives of foreign countries were working it. They were being contacted by Indians that if you want, and the slavery and its mind, the secret file about the nuclear plant that India is making, 50 million worth plant was sold in $50. The whole secret file, the whole plan, the place, everything. And one French private detective was purchasing all information. He has no purpose against India, but if such secrets are being given so cheap, it is worth collecting. Any moment you can earn millions. If India goes in war with China, then China will be ready to pay anything for these secrets. If Pakistan goes against India, Pakistan will be ready to pay anything. You ask and you will get. And the most miraculous thing is that Russia tries to send spies in America. America sends spies into Russia. Then too it is not easy job to find secrets. And the French agents gave to the media that in the afternoon something was decided by Indira Gandhi, and by the evening it was in my hands. Just within 3-4 hours at the most, any secret that was discussed in Indira's cabinet was in my hands within 3 hours. So it is not only some industrialist and some other people, but even the cabinet ministers, the topmost, because few secrets were discussed only with 3 topmost cabinet ministers and the president. Only 4 persons knew about them. They are being sold in open market everywhere. So who is betraying? And what kind of people are these? Slavery has become part of their blood. They need complete change and transfusion of new blood. They need a new mind. I was discussing with some friend, and this Sardar was also listening. Drinking tea, he was listening. Finally, he could not resist the temptation, and he came and he said, "Can I sit? Because the discussion is really interesting. If you allow me to sit, and let me introduce you myself, because I have been a freedom fighter. I have been in Japanese jails, then in British jails. First I was major in the British army, and I have just been released because the British government has left the country, so all the prisoners have been released. And I am searching for some job, some work, because I don't know except fighting, but I know Japanese martial art. Perhaps you can help me. I can open a class for students for martial arts." And he became a friend. We managed to open a school for him. And he was really deep into it. And he used to say small things once in a while, just as an entertainment. He said that in Japan they have a certain training of voice. If somebody attacks you with his sword and you don't have any arms, you just make a certain sound and the sword will fall from his hand. I said, it seems to be something. I had a friend, I said, he does not know about swords, but with a staff. And it is good, because if you miss or something goes wrong and he cuts your head, I am unnecessarily will be caught. You will be gone, but I will be caught unnecessarily. So it is better to try with a big staff. And I used to knew a wrestler. I found him and told him that this is the thing. He said, there is no problem. I will open that Sardar's head in 2 parts. Just one hit, and that's enough. And he was a strong man. And he hit him. And just as he raised his hand to hit, he gave a shout. And the staff dropped from his hand, as if his heart stopped beating. Or what happened? His hand lost all his power. Just the sound. And I said, how you make that sound? Because it is nothing special. It can be learned very easily. He said, sound can be learned very easily. The thing behind it is, you should not be there. That is the most difficult thing. I have been in Japan for all these years. Everything is simple. That thing is the trouble. That you should not be there. And in a time when somebody is going to make 2 parts of your skull, at such a time you are needed absolutely there. Even at such a time you are not to be there. Only the sound, with no ego behind. And suddenly the man will forget what he is doing. He will be completely at a loss. Even his memory for a moment is slipped. He is not aware what is happening, what he is doing, what he was doing. It will take a little time for him to recover. Just your ego has to be absent. That absence creates a certain change in the mind of the person, a certain kind of break, a sudden break. But if both the persons are egoless, then it is very difficult. Then a strange thing is known in Japan, everyday thing, that before you take up your sword to hit the other man's sword is already ready to defend. It is not taken up after your move. No, before you had even thought of the move, that split second, when you think of the move, as if the thought has reached before your hand takes the move, and the man is ready to defend. That too happens only if you are absent. Then the sword is not separate from you. You are not doing anything. You are simply there, absent, allowing things to happen. But if both are egoless, then it can go on for days. Nobody can hit, even scratch the other person. This is not ordinary instinctive level. You have moved to a higher level, even higher than the second. You have moved to the third level, the intuitive. Just as it can happen with swords or boxing or Eastern style wrestling, the same can happen with intelligence on the third plane. One of the professors, I have loved only 2 professors in my whole career. I have troubled many. I have not left even these 2, but I loved them. About one, Dr. S.K. Saxena, I have said something to you. The other is Professor S.S. Rai. He has written his doctoral thesis on Shankara and Bradley, a comparative study. He presented the first copy of it to me. I said, "This does not look good. I am your student. And you are presenting me the first copy of yours as it came from the press." He said, "In my opinion, you deserve it." I said, "But in my opinion, your whole thesis is." Even the title is wrong, because you are comparing 2 men of 2 different levels. Bradley is an intellectual, great intellectual. He dominated in the beginning part of this century the whole world of philosophy. He was the topmost intellectual. Shankara is not an intellectual at all. Of course, they both come to similar conclusions. That's why you have compared them. Because you see the conclusions are similar, but you don't see they come to similar conclusions from different routes. And that is my objection about it. Because Bradley simply comes to those conclusions through logic, while Shankara comes to those conclusions through experience. He is not just arguing about them as a philosopher. He argues as a philosopher too, but that is secondary. He has experienced a truth. Now, to express that truth, he uses logic, reason, intellect. Bradley has no experience. He accepts that he has no experience, but intellectually he finds these conclusions the most tenable, the most valid. So I told to Professor Rai that if you ask me, you have compared two totally different persons which are not comparable. He said, that's why I have given you my first book. I know that if anybody will ever think about it, go deep into it, it is you. I will present this book to the Vice Chancellor, to the head of the department and all my friends, but I don't hope that anybody is going to object even seeing the title. I said, you should go through it again, because I will be reading, and there are going to be 101 questions. So you go through it again. You may have completely forgotten. You have been working on the thesis for 5-6 years. And there were points. But the basic point was continuously again and again coming up. It is possible to come to a conclusion just logically. And it may be right, may not be right. You cannot be certain about its rightness. But to Sankara, it is not a question of may be right or may not be right. It is right. Even if you prove logically that he is wrong, he will not move from his position. Bradley will move. If you can prove him that he is wrong, he will move. I simply gave him one example that I remember. Bradley says that the universe, the existence, he calls it the absolute. Sankara calls it the Brahma. But the definition is the same. The absolute. I drew a circle and asked S.S. Rai if this circle is perfect, then there is no possibility of any development, evolution, any progress. Perfection does not allow any change. If existence is absolute, perfect, then it is dead. If you want it to be alive, then keep it open. Don't close the circle. Let it grow, move, evolve. I don't agree with Bradley because he will not be able even to answer a simple argument that is your universe dead or alive? Of course he cannot accept it is dead. If it is dead, then I am dead, Bradley is dead, everything is dead. Who is arguing? And for what? There should be complete silence. Everything is dead. He cannot concede to that. But if he accepts that it is living, then certainly he will have to accept that it is not absolute yet, and it will never be absolute ever. My conclusion is that it is always coming closer and closer to the absolute, but is never going to become absolute. It will be always coming, but never arriving to the absolute. It will remain alive. Bradley will have to change his idea. And you being a disciple of Bradley, and he was philosophically a disciple of Bradley, you have to accept this on behalf of Bradley. Otherwise, I am ready. You tell me, how can you save the universe alive with a perfect, absolute idea? He said, that's true. I have never thought about it, and Bradley cannot be defended. But I said, Sankara is also saying God, Brahma, truth is absolute. He cannot defend his argument either, because the argument is the same. But the difference is that Bradley will have to change his standpoint. Sankara will simply laugh and he will say, you are right, my expression was wrong, and I knew it. That somebody who knows will find it, that the expression is wrong. You are absolutely right, my expression is wrong. But Sankara will not concede that he is wrong. His position is that of experience. It is intuitive. There is no fight at all at the intuitive level. The politician on the instinct level is just a wild animal. He does not believe in anything except to be victorious. Whatever means are needed to be victorious, he will use. The end justifies all his means, howsoever ugly they are. Adolf Hitler says in his autobiography that means don't matter. What matters is the end. If you succeed, whatever you have done is right. If you fail, whatever you have done is wrong. You lie, but if you succeed, it will become truth. You do anything, just keep in mind that success must be at the end. Then success retroactively makes everything right. And defeat, you may go on doing everything right. Defeat will prove everything wrong. On the second level, there is a struggle, but now the struggle is human. It is of intellect. Yes, there is still a certain struggle to prove that what I am holding is true. But true, the truth is more important than me. If I am defeated in favor of greater truth, I will be happy, not unhappy. When Sankara defeated Mandan Mishra immediately stood up, touched the feet of Sankara and asked to be initiated. There is no question of fight. It is a human, far superior world of intelligence. But still, somewhere in the name of truth, a little politics is lurking behind. Otherwise, what is the need even to challenge this man? If you know the truth, enjoy it. What is the point of going around the whole country defeating people? If you know the truth, people will come to you. There is some very subtle politics. You can call it philosophical, religious politics, but very defined. Only on the third level, when intuition starts functioning, there is no fight at all. Buddha never went to anybody to conquer. Mahavira never went anybody to conquer. Lao Tzu never went anybody to conquer. People came. Whosoever was thirsty came to them. They were not even interested in those who came to challenge them for an intellectual discussion. Many came. Sariputra came, Mogglan came, Mahakashyap came. All these people were great philosophers with thousands of disciples, and they came to challenge Buddha. His simple process, his whole life was that if you know I am happy, you can think you are victorious. But do you know? I know. And I don't think that I have to challenge anybody. Because there are only two types of people, those who know and those who don't know. Those who don't know, how can I challenge those poor fellows? It is out of question. Those who know, how can I challenge those rich fellows? That is out of question. He asked Sariputra, if you know, I am happy. But do you know? And I am not challenging you, simply inquiring, how are you? If you don't know, then drop the idea of challenging me. Then just be here with me. Someday, in some right moment, it may happen. Not through challenge, not through discussion, not through even expression. But people were really honest. Sariputra bowed down and said, "Please forgive me for challenging you. I don't know. I am a skillful arguer, and I have defeated many philosophers. But I can see you are not a philosopher. And now the time has come for me to surrender and to see from this new angle what I am supposed to do." Buddha said, "You have just to be silent for 2 years." That was a simple process for every challenger who came. Many came. 2 years complete silence, and then you can ask. And 2 years silence is enough, more than enough. After 2 years, they have even forgotten their own names. They have forgotten all challenge, all idea of victory. And they have tasted the man. They have tasted his truth. So on the intuitive level, there is no politics at all. In a better world, the people of intuition will be the guide lights for those who can at least understand them intellectually. And the intellectual politicians, professors of politics, intelligentsia, theoreticians, they will be the guide for the instinctive politicians. Only with this way the world can be at ease, can live at ease. The light should come from the highest level, will have to be passed through the second category, because only then the third category may be able to catch hold something of it. The second category will function as a bridge. And that's it. That's how it was in ancient India. It has happened once. The real intuitive people lived in the forest or in the mountains. The intellectuals, the professors, the pundits, the scholars, the prime ministers used to come to them with their problems. Because they said, "We are blind, you have eyes." It happened to Buddha. He was having his camp by the side of a river. And on both the sides armies were standing. 2 kingdoms. The river was the boundary. And they have been fighting for generations. That to which kingdom the river belongs. Because the water was valuable. And they were not being able to decide. So many times they have made the river red with blood. And the fight has continued. Buddha was having his camp, and the generals of both the armies came to him. Just by chance, at the same time, they entered into his camp. Looking at each other, they were shocked. A strange coincidence, but now there was no way to go back. Buddha said, "Don't be worried. It is good that you have come both together. You both are blind. Your predecessors have been blind. The river goes on flowing, and you go on cutting people. Can't you see a simple fact that you both need water? And the river is big enough. There is no need to possess the river. And who is the possessor? The whole water is going into the ocean. Why you cannot use both? One side belongs to one kingdom, the other side belongs to this kingdom. There is no problem, and there is no need even to draw a line in the middle of the river, because on water lines cannot be drawn. And water you use. Rather than fighting, it was so simple. And they understood that their fields and their crops are dying because they have no time to do that. Fighting is first. Who possesses the river? Because then only you can water all your fields. But first water has to be possessed. But the stupid mind thinks in terms of possession. The man of insight thinks of utility. Buddha simply said, use it. And come to me again when you have used the whole water. Then there will be a problem. Then we will see. But come to me again only when you have used the whole water. The water is still flowing after 25 centuries. How can you use the whole water? It is a big river, thousands of miles long, brings from the eternal snows water of Himalaya, takes it to the Sea of Bengal. How can you exhaust it? And those kingdoms were just small kingdoms. Even if they wanted to exhaust it, there was no way. The insight should come from the intuitive person. But the insight can be understood only by the intelligent. And then the intelligent can help the politician of instinct, for whom the only desire is power. This I call meritocracy. Because the ultimate merit dominates. And influences the lower rungs and helps them to rise above their labels. And it has no vested interest. Because it has no vested interest, it is free. And its insight is clear. It will be difficult for the intuitive person to explain to the instinctive person, because they are so far away, belonging to two different dimensions without any bridge. The middle, the intellectual, can be of immense help. The universities, the colleges, the schools, they should not only teach political science. It is such a stupid idea to teach political science. Teach political science, but also teach political art, because science is of no use. You have to teach practical politics, and those professors and universities should prepare politicians, give them qualities. Then the people who are ruling now all over the world will be nowhere at all. Then you will find well-trained, cultured, knowing the art and the science of politics, and always ready to go to the professors, to the scholars, and slowly may be possible that they can approach the highest level of meritocracy, the intuitive people. If this is possible, then we will have for the first time something that is really human, giving dignity to humanity, integrity to individuals, and for the first time you will have some real democracy in the world. What exists now as democracy is not democracy. It is mobocracy.